Hey guys, it's Bia here and we're back with the second video. I hope you enjoyed the first one and here is the next steps you need to take. So I got my blue fabric and I got all my patterns. If you want to see those are in the first video. You're going to need 2 of each, so 2 of the dress and 2 of each part of the sleeve, so you can make both sides of your body. First you're going to start by laying out your fabric. As I said before, I got 3 meters, but I think 2 meters is enough to make this dress. Okay, so after laying it out on the outside, so the wrong side up, so I can draw on it, I'm starting to place my pieces of fabric and then I'm going to start pinning them down to make them stable. As you guys can see on the one underneath, there's pins, and then I'm going to do I've done the same thing for the sleeves. Now as you guys can see, I've cut down on the notches and I've cut one of the sides of the sleeve. So when you cut the other side, you need to make sure that you turn it the other way so that it matches the other side of your body. So the next step is for you guys to do this also with the other side, although it doesn't matter as much when it comes to the only one that doesn't matter for is the bottom of the sleeve. I think is piece number 3, but for the other 2 pieces you need to flip it. Now something very important is you obviously need to cut your back and your front differently according to the sleeve. I wasn't bothered making a second pattern just because of sleeve changes. You can do this if you want, and because it just changes around the armhole and also around your neck. But I wanted the neck to be exactly the same at the front and at the back, and I'm just doing adjustments as to where the back one is going to go. So I am placing it right where the middle is, and then I am adjusting it according to the dress, okay, as you guys can see, and I'm essentially giving it a 1 centimeter distance like I usually do, but I don't, this way I don't have to do two pieces. It's just cheaper. But if you guys want to, by all means do it if you think it's safer, if you don't want to make mistakes. So after this you're going to get your scissors, cut everything out. Okay, now to make our sleeves, you're going to get each piece, make sure they're all facing the same direction just for you to check. And as you guys can see, this piece will match the top, but you have to just stretch it out a little bit, if that makes any sense. So you just make sure it matches from one end to the other, put some pins. I put one in both edges and then one in the middle, and this makes it easier for you to sew it in the machine, okay? And you're just going to sew it with the normal stitch like you do for everything else. I did it as a 2.5, like 2.5 in the machine, so that it's nice and tight and it doesn't move and there's no holes. So you just sew it normally and everything should be fine. Don't forget to put both of the outside sides of the fabric facing each other when you sew it so that it looks proper, okay? Next you're going to have to obviously merge the bottom part with the second one. However, as you guys can see, the bottom one is way smaller than that one, so we're going to essentially have to ruffle it in, and this will happen by going on a sewing machine and making a looser stitch. So make it at like a 4.5. See how I told you before the other one is a 2.5? Make this one a 4.5. This is going to be much easier so that when you pull, okay, it's going to be looser and there's going to be less stitches for the threads to go through, okay? This is so that you don't have to do it with your hand, basically a running stitch with your hand. This is much easier, okay? So all you do is grab one of the sides and start pulling. Sometimes I like to go on the other side that I'm not pulling in and make a knot. This is so that you don't end up pulling all the string out and then it all just comes out and you have to do it again. So after doing this to both sides, okay, you are going to make sure that you knot in, after checking that it matches the size of the other thing that you're sewing it onto. Make sure that it fits the size of that thing. My vocabulary is amazing right now. So the other piece, and we're going to sew them together on the fabric. Make sure that you put your machine back to the 2.5 that I told you about before, and put some pins. I always put one on each side just to make sure that it's going to stay in the right place, and then sometimes I put it in the middle. Okay. Also, when I'm sewing, I'm going to put the flat side to the bottom and the ruffled side to the top. This is going to be much easier for me to sew, and also it allows me to have more control. Right, so next you're going to make the seam, so the hem around your arm. So I'm going to give it a 0.5 centimeters essentially, and you're just going to fold it in twice, and then you're going to sew over it. I will also fix in these folds by using some pins. Obviously, don't put too many. It doesn't have to be so complicated. You just fold it and you just put them in. It doesn't matter which direction you do it in. I'm just using them so I don't have to keep folding things as I'm sewing. It makes it so much easier for me to sew. Right, so as you guys can see, now this is complete, and this is also to the size of my arm. And yeah, so after doing this, I did it again, as I said, and now we're ready to start doing the dress. So the first thing you need to do for your dress is you need to make sure that both sides both outer sides are facing each other. So you can see this on the fabric. Usually you can tell which one is the front and the back of the fabric. Okay. And you're just going to start by joining them at the shoulders. So match up the shoulders with each other. As you can see, I'm doing this on the fabric. I was just checking which side was the right side. Then I'm just going to pin them together, and they will be ready for me to attach. Now that this is done, we can proceed to do the next stage, and that's going to be to attach the sleeves to the dress. So you need to make sure that you know which side is going to be the front and the back. This is why you always put notches, and again, guess who forgot to put the notches on the dress? Me! But you can generally tell which side is which, as the back is usually the longer side. You can kind of tell. If you drew a line in the middle of your sleeve from the inside, you can see which side has got the longest part and which one has the shorter one. And this is usually an indication of which side is which. But as I said, advice, always put notches, because then you might get confused. Now I'm just pinning them together, and then after this I will start sewing it. Sorry about my voice, guys, by the way. I don't know why this is this way. I might be getting sick. Who knows? I hope it's not corona. So you just pin everything together and it will be fine. Also, by the way, I'm sorry for how long this took to finish. I always try my best, but there's other things that happen in my life, and I need to ensure that I do those things first and put them as priority. Especially the people around me. So after you pin this, you just sew it normally with a 2.5, and after doing it, you take out all the pins that you put in, and then you can just turn it the other way, turn it inside out, and you can see your result. Hopefully you're happy with what you just did. We didn't have to do much to change this sleeve, so it should have been easy. After doing one of the sides, I did the other side, and now we can move on to the last stage, really, which is the neck. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to make it basically, our head is not going to fit through this unless you have like a baby size head, and even then I don't even know if a baby size head can fit. So you need to make an opening at the back. Okay, I'm not doing it in the best of ways. You should measure and everything, but I am doing it the lazy way. I am just making a little cut there so that I know where a zip is going to go. Also so that I can start doing the ruffling like we did on the sleeves. So you're going to do the exact same thing with the 4.5 distance, and then you start from one edge and then the other edge as I was showing. And then you can start doing the ruffling like we did before. Make sure you leave a knot on the other side so your string doesn't come out. You can ruffle as much as you want, but make sure you don't do this too much or else it's going to suffocate you. Also don't do it too much, or else it might change the how the dress fits on you. You can always check this. So this is because we have not closed off dress completely at this point. So what you can do is you can put it on yourself and then adjust the ruffles to how much you want them to be, to how comfortable it feels, so that you don't like strangle yourself to death with this dress, okay? And after this, I am just making a cut for the zipper, and I am testing it out myself to see how am I feeling about this. At this point, I was feeling pretty happy, and we need to move on to the next stage. So the next thing is to make that little band that goes around the neck so that everything looks nice and clean. So I just measured about 3 centimeters for this strip that is going to go around. Although, to be honest, after doing it, I would advise you guys do 4 centimeters or 3.5. Maybe 3.5 is better. This is because, sorry about my voice again. It will be easier for you to fold it over, and you'll see this in a moment. So I'm just using a bit of extra fabric that was from the dress, like from cutting all the pieces. I don't want to waste anything extra than I have, and I always like to use the pieces from what I've cut before. So I'm just using my pattern master, drawing a straight line as long as I have to. I didn't measure how long it's going to be around the neck. Obviously, everyone's is going to be different, so I always advise to do extra. So more than you actually think you need, just in case you change your mind or you move things around. Also, because you need to fold it in where the zip is later on. So we're going to start this by just adjusting it around. And basically, you're going to put the outsides facing each other, if that makes any sense. So that when you sew it, actually, I'm going to show you in a second. Sorry, get my voice. I need some medicine. Maybe some honey. So, the outside is with the outside. So, the outside of both fabrics is facing each other. And you're going to put the flat bit down on the machine, and the wrinkly bit on top to make it easier for you to sew like we did before. And you're going to sew it about 5 millimeters in, so 0.5 centimeter. And you can see this where I'm doing it. You can even, actually, I think I did 1 centimeter. I'm not sure, I can't see. I think it was 1 centimeter actually. So I did 1 centimeter in, and I did it all the way around. And then we're going to move on to the next step, which is going to be folding this over. Okay, as you can see, when you fold it, everything looks really nice and beautiful, and the pleats, well, the ruffles look really good. And we can cut out the extra bit of fabric. Next, you're going to fold it, as I said. As you can see, the inside looks very rough and really ugly. So the fabric, once folded in, should hide everything that you can see over there. So you just do 2 folds. So fold it in half and then fold it again, as you guys can see on the video. And this should be making everything look really nice. Also, it feels really thick when you hold it, because there is a lot of fabric there, but everything should look really, really good. Then you're going to start pinning everything around, and once this is done, you can start sewing it. I did it right bang in the middle of the folds, but you can always do it differently. But I think this is the best way. It ensures that everything is nice and covered, and it ensures that everything looks good. You can do it closer to the edge of your fold, like towards the side where we are looking at this from, so that you can kind of hide that line a bit more. But it looks good either way. As you can see on the video, I've done this now. And the next step is just for us to add the zip at the back. Now, I'm not going to show you how I did this zip. This is supposed to be just like a normal zip. You can do a hidden zip, whatever you want. But I don't want this to be a zipper tutorial, so I'm just going to show you how I just cut a little bit more down. Okay. And I'm just ensuring that this will fit me perfectly, giving me extra space. I'm always a bit more careful, you know. You'd rather use a bit more zip and ensure that you can fit in it nicely than struggle to put your head through it. So you just measure how much you need. And obviously mine is like, you can keep using more and more of this long zip and you can cut it, and then you have like extra little things. I got this, I think this was from Alibaba or eBay or something. I got a long time ago. And you have the zipper heads, and you can mismatch everything. And after you do the zip, you just sew the side of your dress together. And now you should have this almost complete. The only thing missing is the seam at the bottom. So zipper, sew everything from the side, so flip it inside out, and then fold from the sleeves all the way to the bottom. And then we're going to need to make our little belt thing that goes around the waist. So I actually cut my dress a bit shorter than it actually was, and this is actually what created my waist. But I'll give you guys a measurement on the screen right now as to how long mine is. Okay, and this will be around what my size is. I actually would advise you guys make it slightly longer than mine, because in the picture there was some sort of bow that the girl made in the fold. But mine is just literally a knot, and it just hangs down. So you can adjust this to what you want. So make it a bit longer. So ensuring that your strip is about 12 centimeter width. I will actually no. Let's just do 14 centimeters because you need to give it a seam allowance, and you're going to sew it on the open edge. And obviously one of the sides has to be open, so you can flip it inside out. After doing this, you're just going to then sew the open edge, and your strip will be done. So we've now finished the tutorial, and let's get on to the montage. Hope you guys enjoy. Bye! Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Bye!